welcome to Stay in Your Lane, a podcast where we watch serial experiments Lain, and this is the epilogue video of Jenner. I'm Jenner, by the way, and I'm gay. You know, I've got a lot to say, but I think I've actually said quite a bit of it already. I don't want to repeat myself too much, so let's just get right into it, shall we? Do you, dear listeners of the Serial Experiments Lain Stay in Your Lane podcast, know who Ursula K. Le Guin is? She's a writer of some renown, an author, and I actually consider myself a bit of a writer too, a creator in my own right, so to speak. She had a response to a review she received in a science fiction periodical that I'd like to share with all of you before I get into this. Back when she was alive. May she rest in power. Here it is. Soon after A Wizard of Earthsea came out in England, it received a review in a science fiction periodical which took the book to task for being consolatory and reassuring. Well, fair enough, I thought, if the consolation is false, if the reassurance is unwarranted. But are consolation and reassurance inherently false, unwarranted, foolish, soft, silly, childish, sentimental? Are we writers only to threaten, terrify, and depress our readers with our ruthless honesty? Have we not as good a reason to offer them whatever comfort we've come by honestly? End quote. Ursula K. Le Guin is one of my inspirations, one of my heroes. One of my deep influences as a writer, as a creator. And this quote really speaks to me. Now, I can't speak for all of you, but I can speak for me, and I'm going to say that I felt like the people behind Serial Experiments Lain failed to offer me whatever comfort they'd come by honestly. Because the end of this show, Lain either wanted to remove herself from reality and then learned that her non-existence had made the world an objectively better place, or she wanted to make a better world and couldn't see such a world without removing herself from it. And either way, well, that's a pretty sad ending to a show. Depressing, terrifying in a way. How many times have I wished, have I wanted, have I hungered for the same? To have died a long time ago. To have never existed in the first place. How I believed with all of my heart and soul that everybody in the world and the world itself would be a much better place without me in it. I've lost count. Sometimes I even go back to that place. It's not a pleasant place, and I don't recommend it. But if you're there, if you've ever been there, I'm here to tell you, and I think at this point, if you've listened through this entire podcast, you've gotten some inkling of an idea that I've lived a bit of a life with a capital L. I've had quite the storied existence. So I am here to deliver on a promise that wasn't kept, to offer you whatever comfort I've come by honestly, as somebody from the other side of that darkness. And it's this. It's not true. The world wouldn't be better off without you. The people on this world would not be better off without you. It's just simply not true. The world is infinitely better with you in it. It just is. In the show, Lain, who is a fictional character, admits that she loves all of humanity. That includes you, by the way. And Loka himself, and I agreed with him, said that while for a time he went through a phase where he lost all hope for humanity, he's not in that place anymore. And I'm actually right there with him I don't have any lost hope for all of humanity because I recognize something. And it's this. See, back in the earliest stages of our evolution, we evolved this very unique ability that seems almost exclusively human to look at something and see ourselves in it and recognize that as a potential friend and cohabitate with it and work cooperatively with it. But we don't just do it with living things. We do it with all kinds of stuff, and it's called anthropomorphization. And it's why we'll see faces in the bark of trees or animals or shapes in clouds. It's pretty ridiculous, actually. And it's that evolution that is why I believe we are at the top of the food chain and have dominated this world. It's not because, we can sweat and walk for hundreds of miles inexhaustibly. It's not because we have, digitized fingers and opposable thumbs. We can grab and crush and throw things. It's not because, we have big brains that allow us to think and make tools and what have you. No. Those things will help, definitely. But no, it's because of that anthropomorphization, that ability to love. We evolved to love. And it's our ability to love and be loved that put us at the top of this world. It's why basically everything looks cute to us. That's my theory. Evolution decided a long time ago what wins and what loses in this game. And Lain's chosen the right path. I'm sure one day she'll even love herself. It took me 30 years to get there myself, so I'm rooting for her. This, what I've just said, what I'm about to continue to say, is my consolation to you that I've come by honestly. I use this metaphor, I'm going to share it with you now, of an ocean. I look at this world as an ocean that we're all on. And we're all at varying depths, and the depths are important, but honestly, they really don't matter much because the truth is we kind of all, regardless of our depth in the ocean, need each other out there to get some idea of the scope and scale of this ocean in the first place. And so, I'd say I'm somebody who's more towards the deeper in the ocean doesn't mean that those people who are closer to the shore are any less valid or suffering any less. Pain is pain. But I'm going to tell you this as somebody who's also in this ocean with me, as you are, that you're not alone. We're all in this together. And the best part about being in this ocean with me, other than the fact that we're sharing it with everybody, is that we also share the same sky. Neat, huh? Yeah. See, we didn't just stop that anthropomorphization thing we do at, clouds and trees and what have you. We took it cosmic to the very night sky. We anthropomorphized things like the sun, storms, etc. into deities. Made them gods, companions, lovers. So, look at the sky. Look at the stars. When you find a place without light pollution, and you look up into the night sky, those stars you see might already be burned out and gone wherever they are, however many light years away. And all you're seeing is their echoes as time catches up to them, but you still see them. The stars might not know that we see them, and that we've built myths and identities from their patterns, but they are a part of us. And that's the thing. We are all a part of this universe, and that we gave them, the stars, meaning, means they have meaning. And that we saw them and we knew means they were known, whether or not they knew. And we are also stars in the universe in our own way. Seen or unseen, we shine, hoping to be seen. We all have precious light to shine out into the darkness, and we all have eyes to see it. You're a star, and so am I. And we're all part of the same universe, sharing the same space. And you and I, Lain, I think we just might be part of the same constellation. So where am I going with all this? Well, the truth is, that promise that Lain made at the end of the show, that she loves you and that she will be with you forever, it's a promise that's not unfamiliar to me. It's a promise my beloved fiancé made to me. And it's a promise I actually made as well, have made to many people. It's not exactly a promise I can keep, any more than she was able to keep it. But for me, the intent and the point wasn't to keep it. It was to make it in the first place. So that you and anybody else who hear this will know this undeniable truth. Somebody out there loves you, even if it's just you. And if you think I'm wrong and that I'm lying to you and I'm feeding you a lie of shit, well, no, you're the one who is wrong, because somebody does love you, because I love you. From the moment you were born, I loved you, because I was in love all along with the potential of you. The you I knew had to exist, who couldn't not exist, because in order for the absolute undeniable truth that this universe contains the potential for infinite enemies to be true, the universe had to also include the potential for infinite allies. And the infinite enemies exist. I know it. That means you existed somewhere, somewhen, out there in the cosmos, and I loved and wanted you. And I am so glad that the stars aligned in such a way that our lives could cross and we could get to know each other like this, that you could hear this message here and now. And if I know you personally, I feel infinitely more blessed, because you're now not just some probability I was certain existed, but a known factor that I love and want around. I love you, and I'm going to be by your side forever, until the day I die. And if there's such a thing as love ghosts, I will become one, and I will love you until the end of everything. You should try and love yourself right along with me. And this is the closing part of my final message to you. My headcanon is that this show ends on a cliffhanger, because Lain's journey isn't done yet, and neither is yours, and neither is mine. And someday, at some time, she'll figure it out. It can take a long time. It took me almost 30 years. She'll figure out what she needs, and she'll do it. There isn't really such thing as a perfect happy ending, but that doesn't mean that sometimes we don't give them to ourselves anyway. A little wish fulfillment rarely hurt anybody. But in this, I think we can be maybe a little bit more realistic. Lain will learn to live with herself. She'll go through the process and she'll recognize that doing a bunch of really awful things doesn't make you an awful person. One day, I'll know it too. I love you, Lain. I'll be there shortly, joining you in loving myself. And Coley, I love you. Still. And I'm keeping my promise. I'll love you forever. And someday, together, we'll shine. We're actually already shining. And I think that about ends all I have to say. Thank you so much for listening through this entire podcast in this present time, on this present day. And I'll be bidding you now a temporary farewell. I'll be waiting for you on the other side.